a psalm of endurance. Spirit of endurance, come to us, let endurance endure, and let us bear up that we may. Endurance. The first man, he was sent out to the fight, and endurance came to him. He left his land of light behind him. He went out to the land of darkness, and endurance came to him. He left also his people behind him. He went out to the field, and endurance came to him. Of the gods, he came to the border of the Manichaeans. Endurance. In the midst of thee, he came that he might raise it. Endurance. The angels, he came to the rampart of the robbers. Endurance. He gave them as food to the beasts. Endurance. They going forth, knowing that they would fall into trouble. Endurance. Not a need which came upon them. Endurance. To trouble until they saved their. Endurance. Also are the enduring ones at this time. Let the 5 weight carriers that support the weight of the enemy. Endurance. They are the 5 sons of the Father, the living Spirit. Endurance. That bears up, that comes from the heights to the depths. Endurance. Overseers that, the prison. Endurance. Yet they wearied not. The Father himself also, who is silent, the second man, Adam, fell into. Seth also, his son. His endurance is great, 73 years. Enosh also, and Noah, Shem, the righteous who were burnt in the fire, they endured. This multitude that were wiped out, 4,000, Enoch also, the sage, the transgressors being, all the blessed that have endured these pains, down to the glorious one, the beloved, Jesus, our Lord. They put a crown of thorns on him, they smote him in his face, they spat upon him, they hung him to a cross, they nailed to him wine, vinegar, and myrrh they gave him, and he took them. All these things which he suffered he endured for our sake. All the apostles that endured their pains, Peter the apostle, who was crucified upside down, how many tortures did he suffer, with this purity? Andrew the apostle, they set fire to the house beneath him, he and his disciples, all hail to them, they were crucified. The 2 sons of Zebedee were made to drink the cup of thee, John the virgin. He also was made to drink the cup, 14 days imprisoned that he might die of hunger, and James also, he was stoned and killed, they all threw their stone at him that he might die beneath the storm. The same things also did Thomas endure in his cross. 4 soldiers at once pierced him with the point of the lance. They surrounded him on 4 sides and made his blood flow. How many mysteries did he perform, many a sign did he fulfill? Paul the apostle, they went against him that they might kill him. How great then is their wrath! He expired, he did not escape. I therefore too have endured the things which he suffered before today. He was thrown into a basket and hung outside the wall. All these things he suffered. He did not weary, he did not flinch. He left the open court of the Lord, knowing that, Thecla, the lover of God, who was made to go up on the fire, she received the sign of the cross. She walked into the fire rejoicing, yet was she not ashamed. Naked in the midst of the crowd, she was thrown to the bears, the lions were let loose to her. She was bound to the bulls, the seals were let loose to her. All these things that she suffered, she did not flinch, she did not. Them, a crown it is that she desires, it is purity for which she fights. The blessed Drusian also, she also suffered the same, 14 days imprisoned like her master, her apostle. Maximilla and Aristobula, on them was great torture inflicted. What need for them to suffer these things? It is purity for which they fight. All the godly that there have been, male, female, all have suffered, down to the glorious one, the apostle Mani the living. Our Lord Manichaeos himself also was made to drink the cup. He received the likeness of them all, he fulfilled all their signs. How many of his disciples also received the likeness of their fathers? We also, my brethren, have our part of suffering, we shall join with them in the suffering and rest in their rest. The covenant of our father, the prophet and the loss are divided between us. We are true sons, the heirs of their fathers. There is nothing that is free from suffering that will rest in the end. The very seed also that is sown, unless it dies, finds not the way to live, but by its death it lives and gives life also. Let us make ourselves strong also, my brethren, for lo, the rest has reached us, that we may receive the blessing of all whereof we have spoken, and dwell with one another in the glorious land of light, with no foe and no enemy and no adversary from henceforth, but it is peace and joy and life eternal. Lo, this is the end of the Psalm of Endurance. Glory and honor to our Lord, our light, Mani the living, who endured to the end, and his holy elect, and the soul of Maria.